everyone. It's so lovely to be up here for my second RoboCon. I remember last year sitting in the audience, enjoying everything, getting inspired. At some point, wondering who stole Auntie's pen. And now I'm here and I get to speak to you. We'd like to start with a thought.
So, hello everyone. It's great to be here. So first of all, I would like you to think back. How was your first time automating tests? Well, when I think about our first test automation, it was a bit like throwing a dart at a dartboard. For the first time, the dart flew and got stuck, but the result? Well, I would say only a few hit the target they were aiming for, and so did our first test automation. It missed the target, but with Robot Framework, our second attempt was a success. And that's the little story we would like to share with you today. So, once upon a time, my company decided to take part in the telematic market. The idea behind a telematic system is quite simple. If the customer lets the insurance ride along, he gets a bonus on his premium. Our solution for this technology is an app that communicates with a sensor located in the car. We record the trips of the insured vehicle and calculate the risk based on things such as how fast the driver is driving, how often or how hard he brakes, and what his steering behavior is like. The risk then results in a bonus, which reduces the premium. At that time, there were already some white label solutions for such an app. But we wanted to be more than just a trip recorder. We had a clear vision. We wanted to build a customized individual app. So, we put together a small team with a clear mission: build the best telematic app in Germany. But there was one little detail. We had never developed an app before. Previously, we had only programmed in-house application or websites. But we took on the challenge and started working. So, what development approach did we choose? I would now say the classic way, Agile. But back in this time, we were the first team with an Agile setup in our company. So it was a perfect starting point. New technology and new approach. We opted in for the Scrum way and still work in 2-week sprints and have the classic roles in the team. The unique thing about our team is that the test team come from business, though they have no deep technical background. The also special thing is that we are doing Agile development in an insurance company. This means that Agile doesn't always mean Agile, and many processes are very German. Sometimes it felt like a fight against windmills. But we never gave up on the mission and finally completed the first version of the Hook My Auto app and released version 1 in April 2019. It was a big milestone for our team and for our company. Things started very slowly, but we soon reached 100k customers, and now we have nearly 600k customers. It was a tough journey, but it turned us into a team that really enjoyed developing and testing an app. During the process, we were already confronted with several challenges when testing mobile applications. But when we released the app to our customers, we met a few more. The biggest challenge was the increasing variety of devices. During development, we had concentrated on emulators, simulators, and some physical devices. After go live, however, we had to make sure that the app worked on nearly every device in the market. The product and the workflows behind it also kept us very busy. Testing the workflows required experts from the specialist department, but the technology also required technical knowledge. So, as a tester, you needed a very broad knowledge base and had to be prepared to step out of your comfort zone. And last but not least, our development approach. Thanks to the Agile approach, we had the requirement to react quickly to changes and test and provide a release as quickly as possible. This also started to be different after the release, because we needed to react quickly on customers' feedback additional. So, as a result of these challenges, the number of manual test cases quickly increased, as you can see, and became almost impossible to handle. So, we ran into several problems. Device diversity decreases. We could no longer run the test on as many devices as possible. Long regression tests. We moved up from an average of 5 days to more than 10 days. And this also means it was no longer possible to make ad hoc statements about the quality of major changes. So at this point, we finally realized that we could not move forward without a test automation. So we quickly decided to introduce a test automation. But we didn't take much time for detailed evaluation. Instead, we looked at what was currently used in our company, and we quickly decided on a solution with Cucumber and Gherkin. And that was a big mistake. We realized that Cucumber did not fit in with our approach and our level of experience. And so we failed completely with this solution and stopped automation almost as quickly as we started it. We increased the number of manual testers again and went back to manual testing. But we faced the same problems again, decreasing device diversity and increasing regression testing. So because of this, we decided to make a new attempt, but this time for real. So how did we approach this as a German insurance? Right, we did what we always do. We wrote a catalog of requirements. But the special thing was that the whole team was working on this catalog. Every role has put in his own ideation of a perfect automation. So we defined detailed requirements for test automation that were exactly tailored to our project. We then put this catalog out to tender externally. And this is where Gabi and Imus came into play.
I consider myself pretty fortunate to being part of the project that early on when we got the requirements from our customer and we had to figure out which is the best test framework that we can use to accomplish the goals and also that fit the app. So what we've done was we took these requirements, these are only a few of them, and we analyzed everything. So what is our goal? Well, we want a user-friendly test automation solution. Because the business testers have no IT background, so they need to understand what we do in our test cases and the results. We want a cross-platform solution, meaning the same test case should also run on Android and on iOS. It should of course be designed for maintainability, so as the app evolves, the test automation should evolve with it. Not only we need to choose an Android and an iOS device, we want them to run on very many devices. And lastly, it should be easy to integrate into CI/CD pipelines. And now I'm pretty sure that some of you in the audience are thinking, well, isn't Robot Framework the obvious solution here? And yes, you're absolutely right. That's why we went with Robot Framework paired with the AppiumLibrary. So, on our road to successful mobile test automation, the first mile marker we wanted to pass was the cross-platform testing. So what does this mean? Well, our aim is that our test case should run on both of these platforms. So how do we achieve this? Well, first, we abstracted the platform-specific logic, meaning we created keywords like this one that work for both of these. And this happens with the help of the variables, for example, login username input. This exists for both Android and iOS. And this is possible because we create platform-specific resources. So this is our resources folder, and you can see the variables folder. It's got two subfolders. And depending on which platform we let our test case run, we choose dynamically if it should be Android or iOS. So we either take the Android variables or the iOS ones. Okay, but what do we do when the behavior changes? And then for Android, I need to check something different than for iOS. Well, if else. So it looks like this. In this example, we need to verify if the Wi-Fi switch is toggled off. So what we do? Well, for iOS, we need to check if the element attribute value is set to 0. And for Android, we need to verify if checked is set to false. And this is the pretty obvious solution here. And lastly, we also create platform-specific test configuration. Not only does this help later on with pipelines, but we can tag all the test cases that are Android related and all the ones that are iOS. And this also helps us. Okay, now we've got a solid foundation of keywords and test cases. They run locally. So the next destination for us was integrating a cloud-based platform. And for this, we chose SauceLabs because it was already being used at the time at HUK. But some of you might not know what is SauceLabs exactly. So it's a cloud-based platform. It provides automated testing not only for mobile applications, but also for browsers. It also allows to run automated tests on a wide range of browsers, operating systems, and real mobile devices. And I think one of my favorite features is the Appium Inspector features. The one that attended the Appium workshop know how many things you got to install for this to work. So this works directly in the browser, and you can just check your app there, see what locators are available, check everything out without having to install anything. Okay, but how do we actually use this? Well, SauceLabs provides a REST API. And for this, we implemented a simple listener, so we are able to get all the device data that we need, like which devices are available right now, or information like the name of the device or the OS version. And we also set the status after a test run. So up there, it's a small snapshot of how it looks like. So you see the name, Con6471 open driving details is the test case name. The status, it passed. It ran on the 7th of January 2025. And this is the whole screenshot. So not only you see information about the device, the app, you can also see a video right there. So it's pretty easy when you've got the log file from Robot Framework and also a video to figure out, why did my test case fail right now? And this also helps our business testers a lot if they don't understand the log. All right. So now this works as well. And we realized that the more we started to integrate, the more we developed. And with this, the more complex the test cases have become, and we began to encounter some challenges. These are some of them. So, first one, flakiness on older devices. I would implement a test case, I would verify if everything works out, the status would be passed, and then I would tell Felix, hey, can you check this out? He would, and he would tell me, it failed. And I was like, how could this fail? I verified it, it worked fine. Am I that bad at automating test cases, or what's going wrong in there? But actually, after I analyzed everything, we came to the conclusion that the devices were introducing inconsistencies. So if we ran a test case on the same device a few times, on the older ones, they were flaky. So what did we do to solve this? Well, we incorporated Rebot. And what we've done is, if a test case has failed, then we would run it up to 3 times, and we would write the results in the same log. And with this, our problems were solved. So we were sure if a test case has failed, it wasn't due to the inconsistencies anymore, but to a problem in the app or a bug or something else. All right, we solved this one. What about the missing test IDs? Well, this was a problem because the app was not developed with test automation in mind. So it was pretty difficult to get some locators. But what we've done, with the help of Felix, we managed to involve our developers even more in our test automation process. And now the test IDs are an acceptance criterion for new features. So not only this improved the longevity of tests, but also their stability. And lastly, we began to implement test cases that involve Wi-Fi. So it meant we had to toggle it on and off and realize what's going on in there. And this introduced flakiness again. So what did we do? Well, we had to run these test cases on a specific device configuration. So that worked for us in the beginning, but later on, I'm not sure if it was weeks or months, SauceLabs introduced a new feature. It's called the network throttle, and after we started to use this, we realized that it works with every single device that we've got, so our problems were solved by that. That was good as well. Okay, now we successfully addressed all the challenges, and we set our sights on the next milestone, the Jenkins pipeline. And for this, we considered the following factors to ensure efficiency. So we set a nightly trigger at the same time every night. And what we've also done, we created 3 different device configurations. So depending on which day we are running our test cases on, we use different devices. We as well use task tags, not only to tag if a test case is implemented for Android or iOS, but also to say if it's a smoke test or a regression test. And what we've also done was using Pabot to speed everything up. And this is one of our configurations. So these are our 3 different ones. The first one is the highest priority, so the most users use the app on a Samsung or Google device with operating system 12 to 15. And you see for iOS, there are newer devices up there with a newer OS version. The second configurations, these are all available manufacturers apart of Samsung and Google. The third one, older devices. And for iOS, it's pretty simple. The smaller the priority, the lower the devices. And this is our schedule. So from Monday to Friday, we run our smoke tests on different configurations, so we make sure that we've got it covered up. On Saturday, we run all our regression tests on the highest priority. And like all us do, the machines deserve some rest on Sunday. Well, actually, this has something to do with the app, so you need driving data at the start of the week. And if you would start on Sunday night, then it would become midnight, and in the morning all our test cases would fail because we don't have any feature with which we can simulate some data. And that's why we decided against Sunday for now. All right, so now we are approaching our goal. And our last milestone is the text execution log. And I've begun with telling you how our business testers have no IT background. So we knew that we had to do some tweaks to our log in order for them to understand what is happening in the log and to figure out why a test case has failed. So what we first done was we added the app build number to our log. So you can see up there, the first tag is the app build number. So they know directly, okay, the test case ran on the app with that number. All right, we've got this covered. What we've also done, we've added tags with example, the device name. So you can see some iPhones in there and the OS version. And this helps to analyze if failures are linked to specific versions, because this has happened to us in the past, where on a specific iPhone, all the test cases have failed, and like this, we can figure it out way faster. Lastly, you cannot directly see that, but I'm going to tell you about it anyways. So we have removed the lower level keywords, because, like I previously mentioned, they don't have IT background, so they would get a little bit confused what's happening in there when something is failed. You see so many keywords, and it can become overwhelming. So if we remove those, they only see the user keywords, and we document everything, so everything is pretty clear to them. And it also helps them understand better in what test case step the test stopped, and to figure it out better what went wrong. And lastly, as a help for them, we added the SauceLabs link to every test case. So when you see that, when you go in there and you try to see what happens in a test case, you see the SauceLabs link, you can click directly in it, and with that you land on the page where you saw the video. So not only they have the log, they have the video, and it's way better for them in analyzing. But now I've talked enough about the implementation. Felix, would you like to continue and tell us how we bridge the gap with expertise and technology?
So thank you very much, Gabi, for this very interesting technical insights. To continue our little story, we now had a perfect solution, as Gabi told us, but how we got it managed to enable our business testers to this. That's an interesting point. And the key was to bring the testers into the technology. So we have developed a process to bridging expertise and technology. And it looks like this. Our test manager is selecting the tests which we would like to automate based on how easy it is and what benefits it has for the team. And then he writes tickets for this and puts this into the sprints. The next step is for the tester, this means the manual tester, to pick up this ticket and think about exactly which steps they want to automate. And this is where the important part starts. He does this in the IDE. So he creates a branch and uses robot framework for the specification in his own words and with our own written keywords. He also describes new keywords if they are needed. It is not so important that they choose the right keywords. It is more important that they define the way and the sequence and actively bring in their business knowledge. The TAE, Test Automation Engineer, then picks up this and looks at the specification. He implements missing keywords or replaces them if necessary. He therefore does not have to worry too much about the business side, but can concentrate fully on his task as a developer. So that's how we bring technology and expertise together, and it works really well for us. After the test engineer has finished his work, he creates a pull request. This one goes back to the test manager. The manager executes the test and checks also for negative paths. When everything is okay, he approves the pull request and merges the branch. And that's all the magic goes. Everyone is part of the process. Everyone is responsible for their own part. But in the end, it only works if they work together. And here, you can see an example of a specification written by a manual tester. As you can see, the tester has used keywords that were already given, but also has defined new ones. The new ones are the ones with an underline, which means that robot hasn't found any keywords for them. After the new keyword, there's an explanation written by the manual tester. It gives the TAE an instruction how to implement the new keyword.
Thank you, Felix, for explaining us how the process works right now. Now, I'm going to tell you what we learned on this journey. First of all, test automation is definitely not a sprint. It's a marathon. So it's vital to approach it with patience and care. The thorough evaluation is essential to make sure that your tools are also aligned with your needs. Second of all, you should involve the stakeholders early, because not only does the collaboration ensure alignment, but it also ensures a smoother implementation. And like I've told you in our case with the missing IDs, it was very valuable that we involved our developers to make the whole process better. You should also understand the limits of test automation. It is alright if not everything can be automated. And it's crucial to recognize this fast enough, because manual testing plays an important role, and it should complement for comprehensive coverage and quality. And lastly, ongoing maintenance is key, so you should definitely allocate time and resources for regular updates, because the effectiveness of your test automation relies on keeping it up to date. Thank you for the attention. We are happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, Gabriela and Felix. Questions? Who's the first? There. Careful.
So let's assume you have developers and testers work in one team. Developers like committing the code to some branch. Test engineers also commit some code to some branch. How do you achieve those two teams to work together on one example project?
It's easy. It's separated. It's a different project. So the test automation is a different project. So the testers do not put in stuff in the other project for the developers.
Then there is a challenge. For example, when you have separate repositories for the code and automation, and they live separately, and when somebody merges the code to, let's say, to master branch, is the automation code actually the same automation code for that master branch? Because you can have several features going live. I mean, they go into master separately, and automation code could kind of another repository. And when you merge everything to master, it's you can kind of mix up the features between those two repositories.
Yeah, to be honest, we don't have that feature yet, so the test cases don't get triggered right now if they want to merge something. But what we do, so we get we always get provided with this app build number. So we always know on which version we should run our test cases on. And this works right now for us. So is there anything else you would add? I mean, we have in planning that they want to implement this, and our developers also use the test automation. So they also have access to our repositories, and they can also trigger the test cases, and we work together like this, so we communicate a lot. And I guess that worked for now for us.
That's okay for you?
Thank you.
More questions? There in the back, if you can toss it there. Oi.
Thanks. My name is Lucas. I am curious. Where did you get the data or statistic? Which device want to use for the test, or their version of operating system?
That's a great question. We have Adobe Analytics, and we can analyze our customers. So we know on which device they are. And there's a dashboard we created. And our manual testers are looking at this every first of the month, I think. So we have it regularly. And based on this, we took the solution for this and make the plan and the schedule.
And I mean, we can change it as it goes. So we use regular expressions for that. And we can edit the version every time there's a change.
Yep.
Good question, and you'll get a sticker from here. Joker, sticker. Next.
Hi, I'm Niels. I have a question about the hardware device, right? So, which is taking the telemetry data. So, was this also somehow involved in your testing, like the actual hardware device, or how did you handle the data from that device within your tests?
It's a limit of test automation. You cannot test all the features from the app. Such as you have a pairing between the sensor and the app that cannot be tested automatically, and also the trip recording. It's not impossible. You can put the sensor on a drone and fly around, but that's not effective. So these features are not tested automatically, but all the others can test it by Appium and Robot.
Okay, thank you.
Let's take one more question from there, if you can toss it there.
Sorry, yeah.
Nice catch.
Hello, my name is Aurélien. I have a question about the solution you selected. Why selecting SauceLabs better than, for instance, a browser stack?
I mean, we already had access. Our customers already did have an account for SauceLabs, and that's why it was obvious to use something that is currently in the company and not get something new. Or that basically sums it up.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay for you? Or so we're searching actually for alternatives. So we're scanning the market, I think, so said, and let's have a look.
And we are also going to be in the speakers corner, so we can talk about this further later if you want, and exchange our experiences.
Yeah. So during lunch, Felix and Gabriela are in the speakers corner. You can go there and ask more questions. Thank you, Gabriela. Thank you, Felix.
Thank you.
Excellent talk. Thank you.